Earl, we came in this morning with a different plan for something to do at 12:30. You suggested a better idea than my original idea. You want to lead us into this next topic?
Yeah, man. So, unfortunately, today is the 3rd anniversary of Kobe Bryant's sudden tragic passing.
Yeah.
And all of us in here, minus director Steve, is probably huge Kobe Bryant fans in our own way. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of like honor the Mamba, the legend, share some of our favorite Kobe memories. I'm interested to see what Brad and Jason have to say from, covering, watching, and just spending time with him.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, you go first.
I never got to know him well. Unfortunately, I had a few limited meetings, interactions with him, but I wish I could give you a great Kobe story. I don't have one. His last trip to Cleveland was memorable for me just in the way that he commanded the room. He did a pregame, like a formal pregame sit down with everyone, with us, and just his reflections on LeBron and Kyrie. Obviously, that was in the height of the Cavs championship window, and how he said, like, you need an agitator. You need someone who will disrupt the room at times. And he's like, hey, LeBron. Like, he said it's got to be Kyrie. And watching that, just how much Kyrie idolized Kobe. And early on at Team USA, their Olympic camp, there was a great clip of Kyrie saying they wanted to play one-on-one. And Kobe's like, you're crazy. You can't beat me. And Kyrie's like, you have to guard me. You don't understand. You would have to guard me. Like, you actually got to play defense for once, Kobe. And watching these guys go back and forth. So obviously just a tremendous talent, a terrific player, someone I absolutely loved watching. LeBron said one of his greatest regrets of his career is never playing in the finals against Kobe. They had 2 chances, and the Cavs didn't get there, and they missed. In 2008, they lost to Boston. And in 10, I think Lakers go to the finals in 10, and the Cavs didn't get there. And so that's, we never got that great Jordan Bird type matchup with Kobe and LeBron in a finals, unfortunately. And that's on the list of LeBron's regrets in his career. He's not going to have many, but that's going to be one of them.
Right.
Well, like Jason, Kobe's much younger than I, but living through guys that played with him and hearing the stories. The one thing I can say about him, he was a tremendous competitor, just a tremendous competitor, and you could see it come across in any highlight they put together. I mean, he was there. He was here. You hear the term is he was there for the smoke. Yes, he was.
He wanted it all.
He wanted all the smoke, right? And so that is a rarity these days that people want all the smoke. So unless you're Shannon Sharp. Shannon wanted all the smoke, right? So in this you set up here, what I appreciate about Kobe Bryant is his competitiveness and his understanding of the knowledge of and the history of this game and what it really meant to be a ball player. I mean, so not just being on the floor, but understanding the pieces and parts that made this league great. He understood that. He came from great lineage. I grew up at a time when the Sixers were the team, when Dr. J and George McGinnis and his father, Jelly Bean, was on a Sixer team with World Be Free and all them, and I remember that, right? And so he came up in a basketball hierarchy that understood what it meant to be old school and play old school, right? And just understand what it meant, the legacy of carrying this game on. And then when he retired, that's what I really appreciate him about, because I'm a man with daughters.
Yeah.
He took an affinity into women's basketball.
Yep.
And not just an affinity to watching it, being a part of it, trying to make it grow, starting out with young kids, developing young girl basketball players, and trying to be an impact on that, and transitioning from the men's side. He was slowly transitioning to the women's side, which is part of why the game is what it is today. I was at the gym the other day. I told somebody the other day. I said this. They're like, you watching Ohio State? I said, I probably couldn't even tell you really who's on the men's team. I watch more women's basketball than I do men's basketball now, because it is emblematic of the game I knew. The women today play the game I knew because it's pure. They play it for the right reasons. It's less athletic, but the fundamental-wise and competitive-wise is that. And Kobe Bryant was strictly in tune with that.
Was he the closest thing to MJ that you have seen? I mean, you saw MJ up close and personal more than anyone ever. So was Kobe the closest thing you've seen to MJ in that regard?
I would say yes. I would say he didn't have all the athletic skills of MJ. He had a lot, but he didn't have all of them. But he had the competitive fire of MJ.
Okay.
That is the separator for me, right? You can have all the talent, all the tools, but when I tell you, because MJ wanted all the smoke,
Yeah.
right? He did. Kobe Bryant wanted all the smoke. And I sometimes I sit back and watch some of the others, and I was like, do you really want the smoke, or you want it on occasions? There's a difference. So that's my separator to your question.
Yeah, I grew up in the Kobe era. I mean, Kobe was around, and so was LeBron, since I remember watching basketball. And on top of the fact that he was one of the 5 to 10 best players I've ever seen, top 5, 10, 15, the greatest of all time, however your list is, you can rank them in your order. There's no definitive debate on that. 2 things stand out about Kobe to me. A, the fact that Mamba mentality is now a common phrase in every situation, not just in the sports world. But we go upstairs and work, and Earl said it this morning. Earl goes, I wake up every day with Mamba mentality. Like, I'm attacking every day like it's my last, and I'm going to make the absolute best out of the situation. And we were talking about producing and making graphics that day, and he's like, I got the Mamba mentality to make this the best graphic humanly possible. That translates to the business world. I've been in jobs outside of here. I worked at a restaurant back in New Jersey, and our boss used to be like, Mamba mentality today, Mike, like Mamba mentality. And I'm like, you hate sports. He was like, Director Steve. I'm like, you don't like sports. He goes, but I love Kobe.
Yeah.
He transcended that.
Yeah.
And then as a generational, not pop icon, but just iconic figure, I don't know if, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if any other player in any sport has the cachet Kobe did, where you take a shot, you crumple a piece of paper, we do the water bottles, you guys still say, Kobe.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one out here being like, Michael or Giannis, like maybe Tyvis. Maybe Tyvis is the one dude yelling, and he's probably bricking it if it's a free throw. But, like, Kobe has transcended every generation with that. And there have been one-name players in the past, Michael, Kareem, Magic, like, Kobe's Kobe. There will never be another Kobe in that sense again. And the way he transitioned, not just to champion women's basketball, he won a freaking Academy Award for a short film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was going to be the best at whatever he did because
Yeah.
that true Mamba mentality translated from the basketball court to everything he did in his life. He was going to be the best champion for women's basketball possible. He had 18 All-Star games. He might have had 25 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past Kobe. And he was an elite player on the court. He, for all intents and purposes, seemed like an elite father off the court. And when you combine those two together, you get an icon that will last last the legacy of time forever. Do you guys remember where you were 3 years ago today?
I exactly know where I was.
Me too.
Cheyenne was, we were on a recruiting trip to Maryland, and they were playing Northwestern at Maryland. I'm sitting in the College Park, and then my phone rings. It's my daughter that was living in Kentucky, and she said, did you hear what happened? I said, what do you mean? This is during the game.
Oh, okay.
And so I said, what are you talking about? She said, Kobe Bryant just died. And I said, what do you mean Kobe Bryant just died? This is during the game. And she's went ahead and started to tell me what happened. And then what I watched was this. I'm stunned, but I'm now watching it starting to seep around the arena. Because they had
everyone slowly figuring
you're
out.
slowly hearing this thing come. People are talking. I mean, it was like you ever seen a wave at an arena go around the room?
Yeah.
That's what happened. And Maryland had a nice crowd that night.
And one person sees it, then the next person
And then
sees
it was like, that's when the buzz hit. And then they were like, I don't think the people really became stunned to the end. They were like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Right, that's what happened. So I know exactly where I was.
Do you remember where you were?
I was home. We were in our old house at the time, and I think I was in my office, and it was one of those, you don't think it's real. And when I saw it was TMZ, I'm like, no, they're never wrong. They got people they pay to tell them this stuff. Like, it's real. And just the shock of just numb, stunning shock that you never, ever, ever think Kobe's going to die.
No.
Especially in the way it happened,
Yeah.
at the timing, like the timing of it all.
And how often we made reference to the helicopter and poked fun at it, and what a cool life to have a helicopter and a helipad to get you where you want to go, and it's a life that I cannot relate to, and then for that to be what killed him in the end.
I was back in Texas. We used to play pickup. It was a Sunday, so we had Sunday pickup.
Sunday.
In the afternoon, we were playing, and it was between, I think, the first or second. We had just started. And the best player in College Station is a dude named Rod. Rod could ball. Like, not like he's pretty good. I played in college. Like, I could not check Rod. When he wanted to score, he scored. Kobe was his favorite player. He had a Kobe tattoo on his forearm.
Mm-hmm.
This dude was Kobe reincarnated in College Station.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, he was like 5'8". He wasn't big enough to play anymore.
Right.
But dude loved Kobe. And he had just scored like 16 points in the first game. Absolutely cooked me. And we were, between games waiting to go on next. And someone goes, yo, did you guys see the news? And we're all looking like, no. And he goes, Kobe's dead. And we all check our phone. When I run to it, I'd start texting everyone I know, like, hey, is this real? We sat there in silence for about an hour in the gym.
Yeah.
And, people were breaking down in tears. And it's in that moment that you kind of realize someone who you've never met can have that much of an impact on your life. And it sucks. My reaction to anything serious is I laugh. I can't help it. It's a serious character flaw about me. So, like, I'm not laughing at the death. It's just my reaction to serious situations. And everyone else is like breaking down, and I'm trying to keep a serious face here. And I felt terrible because then everyone's looking at me like I'm a jerk for just how I react. But people were crying in his gym for Kobe, who they've never met, and it's his impact that I don't think will ever be washed off.
Well, it's not just the impact. You have to realize what happened, Mikey. What happened was, you watched a 17-year-old basically grow up in front of your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody watched it.
You didn't know him, but you knew him.
You cheered for him because here he is. He's out in L.A. trying to make the most of it, right? Because he was just freewheeling it at first, right? He was the kid with the afro that was just freewheeling it with Shaq. And then through all his trials and tribulations, right? And then his ups and downs. He was just a person trying to get better. Mm-hmm. But you watched him. He was a person, like you go out to L.A., people feel in LA like he was a part of their family because they watched him grow up. So you watch 18 years of this, right? You know this person. You feel like you know him.
Yeah.
And then, wow, here it is. Day you wake up and he's gone.
Yeah. And with no warning.
And then you tell me it's a helicopter accident. I mean, they're flying because the first thing people were saying, why are you flying a helicopter in a fog?
Yeah.
Why is the thing even lifted off?
Yeah.
Because if you've ever been to LA, you know what that fog looks like.
Yeah.
It's tough, right? And it's tough, so I can understand why they didn't see the mountain. Right? That's the problem. The way you lost him.
Yeah.
It was not supposed to happen like that.
Earl?
Yeah, man, tough conversation. I kind of echo everybody else. I grew up with Kobe. I was raised in the Kobe Bryant era. And I remember sitting at home, I was playing Madden with my friends. We was doing the whole franchise mode. And all of a sudden, we started getting these different alerts about, Kobe had tragically died in this helicopter crash. And me and my dudes, man, we are like real goofy, real silly. I have never seen or heard so many grown men sobbing and crying just in silence like that. And Jason, what I thought about was, LeBron had just passed Kobe for third all-time on the all-time scoring list.
Like the night before.
The night before.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of montages of Kobe going on, interviews of Kobe's going on. And Kobe had just tweeted probably like 6 or 7 hours before his death, congratulate LeBron on moving into third. And so for him to be gone so suddenly in the way that he left here, I told them earlier, it almost felt like when Michael Jackson passed away. Because his impact across this entire country, both professionally and when it came to sports, it was different. Kobe was a person that, I say all the time, be great, but being great comes with a price. He was always willing to pay that price.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the other thing: is a person, the humanitarian side of this. There was a wake and ripple left in the water of this, right? He was a man that had kids, a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They saw him in the morning. They saw him and his daughter in the morning leave the place. And a parent, I can only relate to it as a parent, not to see your people come back, right? You had to feel for that. If you had any humanity in you, you had to feel for that, right? No matter what you thought, right? You had to feel for it because it's something you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy because it's just tragic.
And there was I think 8 other people that passed in the plane crash. And it's not just Kobe and Gigi who remember on this day. It's the other 8 who had families.
They
were children and parents involved. So, our Thoughts and prayers.
And he was just trying to do the right thing. Like, listen, we might as well jump on the helicopter and get over here to the thing. Clear day, up and down. That's
Easy
what
money.
it is.
Last thing with Kobe, then we'll move on real quick. But did you guys see the Redeem Team documentary on Netflix that came out earlier this year, or I guess last year?
I started to watch it. I don't think I finished it.
There
I
are
don't
some
think I made it all the way through.
phenomenal Kobe moments in that have never been seen before. And it was the 2008 Olympics because they lost in 04 to
04,
Argentina.
yeah.
So 08. Some awesome and there's a lot of LeBron Kobe interaction in that. It's on Netflix. Highly recommend it. To just remind you of some of the interactions that these players had. To see Kobe in 2008 when he was back in, peak Kobe and stuff that you've never seen Kobe say before. He says in this, and it's really good. And it reminded me of how freaking awesome Kobe was when he was with us. What's up?
All right, last thing before we move on.
We're talking Cavs next too, so
everybody's favorite Kobe Bryant moment. I got plenty, but the first thing that just popped
is
in my head
is that overtime? Is that overtime?
No, that's his legacy is overtime.
Okay,
we talking moment right now. It's plenty that pop in my head, but the first one I thought about was the no flinch. When Doug Christie tried to get him to flinch with the ball, he showed, man, he had ice water in his veins. He ain't scared of him.
Favorite Kobe moment. This is recency bias. I just saw this on Twitter this morning. But do you remember the ESPN commercial where Jalen Rose walks into the bar and Kobe's sitting at a table by himself? He's like, "What's up, Jalen?" And the waiter goes, "What are you drinking?" And Kobe goes, "I'll have a martini with 81 olives, please." And then Jalen just laughs. Y'all seen that commercial?
No, I don't remember it.
I'll say it was awesome. I literally saw it this morning, and I was like, you know what? That's an all-time Kobe moment. And shout out Jalen Rose for playing along with that too. But that was a great Kobe moment.
Boy,
Even
it's hard to pick one. What did he score in his last game?
60 to 62.
I think it was 60 or 62.
I think that's where my mind goes first for all the great things he did. Just ending it that way and going out like that, and just, man, actually shooting free throws with a blown Achilles.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like,
there's so many Kobe moments.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You get up, blow your Achilles, get up, stand there, shoot the free throws, and walk off the floor. Dudes get dragged off. They get carried off, and they blow their
DeQuell's
Achilles.
in a damn scooter, and we got Kobe out here shooting free throws.
That's incredible, man.
Brad?
I just say, my moment is this. I just remember the kid with the afro, right? And when he was with Shaq, right?
The alley-oop?
And the alley-oop to Shaq. But he was just a kid that was just playing, right? I don't think he even really knew what it was, right? He was just, I just love to play. That's the thing I remember about him. He just loved to be in the mix, right? And he had a air about him that was about straight business when we hit this floor. He didn't care who you were.
Yeah.
And that's what I can appreciate about him.
We're going to do way more Kobe in overtime. He deserves more than just 15 minutes. But we do got some Cavs news we got to get to today, right, Earl?